So today is March 28, 2025. Yesterday we were talking about anicca, dukkha, and anatta last 2 days, that every physical and mental phenomena are anicca, impermanent, dukkha, unsatisfactory, and anatta, not self. And we have to understand that nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta through our own practical knowledge. So to understand that anicca, dukkha, and anatta through our own practical knowledge, we have to observe every presently arising objects at that very moment. So we cannot just think in our mind that, oh, every mind and body are anicca, they are impermanent, oh, they are dukkha, unsatisfactory, and they are anatta, not self. Thinking that way, uh, that is not our practical knowledge. And when we observe objects in sitting meditation or walking meditation or in daily activities, we should just note the objects as it is. Means if there is rising, we just observe at rising. Not noting that rising movement as anicca. Not noting that rising movement as dukkha or anatta. Yeah? We all rising and falling movement are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. It is true. But that one is our theoretical knowledge. That is not our practical knowledge yet. So if we want to make that theoretical knowledge, convert that theoretical knowledge into practical knowledge, then we just need to observe as it is. If there is rising, just observe it as rising. If there is falling, then just observe it as falling, not as anicca or dukkha or anatta. So if we keep on noting as they are, then when our mindfulness concentration becomes strong, then we will see that nature of anicca. Means, oh, those rising and falling, they arise and immediately pass away. We will see, we will understand by our own knowledge. But sometimes in the practice, we might be reflecting instead of observing those phenomena. We might be thinking, oh, they are anicca, 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 something like that. Because we are hearing about this anicca many times. And we think when we see rising and falling, we think that, oh, we are seeing anicca. Means we see that is arising and passing away in that very moment. Therefore, it is very important to observe objects as it is. Yeah, in walking also, just focus on the leg movement and note it as right, left, or lifting, dropping, or lifting, moving, and dropping. We don't need to think about anicca or dukkha or anatta. If we just keep on observing, then surely we will see that impermanence nature, impermanence, oh, they arise and pass away. We see through our own knowledge. So that is very important. And if we really want to understand that characteristics of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self, then we have to cultivate and develop Eightfold Path. So Eightfold Path, the three trainings, the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, by observing the precepts, we can cultivate that Sila training. That is the group of morality. So in the practice, then we exert effort. We exert effort to see the every arising mental and physical phenomena at that moment. And when we exert effort, then the noting mind falls on that object. That is, then there arises mindfulness, and the noting mind stays on that object. Concentration there. So effort, mindfulness, and concentration, these three are the concentration training, samadhi, sikha. These three are in the concentration group. And of course, there is aiming also. We have to aim, we have to focus the object. That focusing is samma sankappa. And when we focus, we put effort, the mind goes to the object, it stays there, and we come to know about that object. That knowing, that understanding is panya. And that is samadhi. So samma sankappa and samadhi, these two are the wisdom panyasika, training of wisdom, training of panya in the wisdom group. So there are 8 altogether, 3 in sila training, 3 in concentration training, and 2 in panya training. Sila sikha, samadhi sikha, and panya sikha, altogether 8. So we have to develop that eightfold path by observing every arising objects very respectfully and continuously. So if we are able to do that way, then the knowledge will occur. So first, the knowledge of discriminating mind and matter occurs. That is nama rupa paricheda jnana. When we continuously observe the objects, our mindfulness becomes stronger and stronger. So to concentration, then the mind is very calm. At that time, defilements, hindrances will not arise in the mind because the mind is very calm and collected on the object of observation. So the mind becomes very pure, very clean, very steady. And at that time, sometimes we feel there is no wanderings, no thoughts. Even the wandering or thoughts occur, we will be able to note that wandering mind, those thoughts very quickly. We will notice them very quickly, and we see that those thoughts disappear very quickly because our mindfulness and concentration is very good, very strong now. So when mind becomes very calm, very pure, very clean, then we come to see the nature of the objects that we are observing. We come to see the very true nature of the objects. Yeah. So if we are observing rising and falling movement, we come to see what is that rising and what is that falling. We come to know about the air element, stiffness, tension, movement, vibration, pressure, pushing or pulling. So many natures we will be able to notice, we will be able to see. And also when we also come to know about the mind, the noting mind, we feel that whenever object occurs, the noting mind is somehow inclining to that object. The noting mind just run to that object. So we come to know about that mind. Because mind, chitta in Pali, it has a characteristic of inclining towards the object. That is the characteristics of mind. And now we experience that. We experience that the noting mind is always moving towards, running towards the object, wherever the object appears, whether it is the rising and falling movement in the abdomen, whether the pain in the legs or pain in the back, the mind just moves to that object. So we come to know about that mind. So knowing this way, the nature of mind and matter, we come to understand that there is only mind and matter. There is only nama and rupa, nothing else. There is only nama and rupa, nothing else. And this nama and rupa also not just one thing. They are two different things. At the beginning, when mindfulness and concentration is not very strong yet, we cannot differentiate this nama and rupa, mind and matter. We think that the same mind knows everything. The same mind knows everything. Just one mind knows that rising movement also, falling also, pain also, other sensations in the other parts of the body also, and wandering, thinking. Only one mind knows all those things. We think that way because our mindfulness and concentration is not very strong enough to differentiate these two things. But when um, we develop mindfulness and concentration, we come to see the nature of mind, the nature of body, and so now we can differentiate the mind and matter are not same. They are two different things. So, for example, in hearing the sound, we hear the sound through our ear base. Yeah, there is ear base, and there is sound. The sound could be from outside or maybe from inside our body. The sound, and when this sound strikes in that ear base, then we come to know that sound means hearing consciousness takes place. So here, the ear base, the sound, and the hearing consciousness, they are not just one thing. They are not just one thing. They are different things. Yeah, the sound that is not in the ear, the sound is not ear based. The sound is sound. It's different. Ear based is ear based. It is not sound. Yeah, and this sound, it strikes in that ear base, then we come to know that sound. If that sound does not strike in the ear base, then we cannot hear that sound. And also, though the sound is very loud, but our ear base is very weak. Yeah? Our ear base is very weak. In that case, also, sometimes we cannot hear the sound. So the sound is there, the ear base is there, and it strikes on that ear base, so we come to hear that sound. It means the hearing consciousness occurs. So everything is happening because when all conditions are met, then we are able to hear the sound. So we come to know that ear base and sound is matter, is different thing. And the hearing consciousness is the nama, is the mind, is a mentality. And that is different thing. They are not same. So we will be able to differentiate in that way. So the in seeing the visible forms also, because there is eye base, and there are many visible forms. And when those visible forms strike in that eye base, then seeing consciousness occurs. We come to see that visible object. So this seeing consciousness, it occurs because the visible form strikes in that eye base. If that visible form did not strike in that eye, does not strike in that eye base, then we will not see that form. And of course, to see the visible form, we need some light also. Yeah, in the dark place, though there is many visible forms, we cannot see them because it is very dark. The light is necessary to see things. And also, there should be some attention. Yeah, if there is no attention to that visible form, we won't see that form. So, to occur seeing consciousness, yeah, to occur seeing consciousness, all conditions should be met. There should be eye base, there should be visible form, and also light and manasikara. Manasikara is attention. If these four are met, then nobody can stop from occurring of this seeing consciousness. The seeing consciousness will arise for sure, if those conditions are met. So this seeing consciousness, the knowing of seeing, it does not originate from eye base. It does not originate from visible form. But when that visible form strikes on that eye base, and there is light and also attention, then that seeing, the knowing of seeing, that is seeing consciousness, occurs. So here the eye base and the visible form, they are rupa matter. And they are also two different things, not one. Eye base is eye base, visible form is visible form. And the knowing of that visible form, that is seeing consciousness, that is nama mentality. So whenever we see something, what really occurs in that process of seeing is mind and matter. And we come to understand that. And we come to understand this only when our mindfulness and concentration is good enough. And to have that good mindfulness and concentration, again, we have to observe every arising objects very respectfully and continuously. So when we come to see this mind and matter in that way, then we now understand that, oh, everywhere there is only mind and matter, nothing else. There is no entity, there is no atta, no self. Yeah, just mind and matter. In seeing process also, just mind and matter occur. In hearing process also, just mind and matter. In noting of rising and falling also, just mind and matter. The movement of rising and falling is matter, yeah, the elements. And the knowing of that rising and falling movement is mind, mentality, it is nama. So only nama and rupa are there, nothing else. We come to understand this means our view now becomes very pure and clean. That is the purification of view, ditti visuddhi. At the beginning, we have sila visuddhi because we observe precepts, we observe sila, and then we develop concentration, we develop mindfulness and then concentration, and that helps, that prevents the hindrances from entering into the mind. So our mind becomes very pure and clean. That is chitta visuddhi, purification of chitta mind. And then now we come to understand the mind and matter very clearly. So in that, at that time, our view, wrong view, becomes now right view. The wrong view is abandoned because now we see what is really there. Yeah, there is no atta and no entity, no one is there, just mind and matter. So this knowledge, the knowledge of discriminating mind and matter is called nama rupa paricheda jnana. And this knowledge occurs itself. We don't need to do anything. Yeah, what we need to do is we just need to do our job very diligently. Our job is to observe the presently arising objects. That is our job. So we just need to fulfill our duty. Then this knowledge of discriminating mind and matter, nama rupa paricheda jnana, will occur by itself. We don't need to do anything. So when we come to see this mind and matter, then at that very moment, at that moment, we also come to see the cause and effect relation of those mind and matter. Yes, there are only mind and matter, nothing else. But these mind and matters, the physicality and mentality, they occur due to cause, not without cause. They occur due to cause. So the seeing the cause and effect relation of mind and matter is the knowledge of conditionality, that is Patsaya parikaha jnana in Pali. In Pali. Patsaya parikaha jnana, knowledge of conditionality. We come to see that every mind and matter are arising due to certain cause. The mind causes matter, and matter also causes mind. Means rupa causes nama, and nama causes rupa. So after seeing the mind and matter, the nature of mind and matter, then when we keep on observing those objects again continuously, because our job is to observe. Yeah, the job of meditators is to observe whatever occurring at that very moment. We don't need to worry about anything. We just need to fulfill our duty. So when we keep on observing those objects, then again our mindfulness and concentration develops even stronger. And now we come to see that this mentality and physicality are occurring in pair. They are related as a cause and its result, cause and effect. For example, in noting of rising and falling movement in the abdomen, the rising and falling movement occurs because of in-breath and out-breath. Yeah? Because of in-breath and out-breath, rising and falling movement occurs. So here, the in-breath is a cause for this rising movement, and out-breath is cause for falling movement. So rupa causes here rupa. Yeah, matter causes matter. And in-breath and out-breath, it occurs due to the intention to breathe in and breathe out. Yeah? Because we want to breathe in, therefore the breathe in, the inhalation occurs. We want to breathe out, therefore the exhalation occurs. So here the intention, that mind, is cause, and the in-breath and out-breath is effect. So mind causes matter. Yeah, mind causes matter because of intention to breathe in and breathe out. The inhalation and exhalation occur, and because of inhalation and exhalation, there is a movement in the abdomen, rising and falling movement. And because the rising and falling movement is occurring in the abdomen, then the knowing of that rising and falling movement occurs because we are observing that movement. We are paying attention to that rising and falling movement. If there is no rising movement, then there will be no knowing consciousness, knowing mind, knowing of this rising. If there is no falling movement, then there will be no knowing mind that knows that falling movement. So here the rising movement and the falling movement is cause, and the knowing of that rising and falling movement is effect. So matter causes mind. Yeah, rupa causes nama. Because of the occurrence of rising and falling movement in the abdomen, there arises the knowing mind that knows the rising and falling movement. So everything is related as cause and effect. Same goes to in sitting down process. Yeah, when we are sitting down, we think that I just sit down. Actually, not. There is a series of intention occurs. Yeah, there is a wanting mind to sit down, and because of that intention, the body slowly drops down. Yeah, it drops down, and if we are if we are observing that process of sitting very respectfully, very carefully, very meticulously, we feel that while we are sitting down, we feel the body becomes very stiff or tight or tense or uh, uh, getting heavier and heavier. We come to know that. Yeah. So the sitting down process occurs because of intention to sit down. Also in stretching and bending hands, the hands and legs we stretch and bend because of that intention to stretch and bend. If there is no intention, we won't be able to stretch or bend our hands and legs. Yeah. Just now in sitting down process also, there is not just one intention to sit down. There are series of intention to sit down. And sometimes that intention does not occur. At that time, the body doesn't go down. It just stops at that very moment because the intention does not occur. So if the intention does not occur, the sitting down process also stops. It does not occur. So again, when we feel it's a bit difficult and then there arises the intention to sit down, then again slowly the body falls down. So that way, every um, activity, yeah, every physical activity, they occur because of mind, because of intention. And sometimes in just now we are talking about the hearing. In hearing also, we hear the sound. So we have ear base and also sound from outside or inside our body. These these sound and ear base are matter. And because of that, we hear the sound. We hear the sound means we know the sound. So the knowing mind occurs, the knowing of sound, that is hearing consciousness. So hearing consciousness occurs only when the sound strikes on ear base. Of course, there needs some air also. Without air, we cannot hear sound. Yeah, if this room is soundproofed, we cannot hear any sound from outside. Yeah, if this room is soundproofed. So there needs some air and also attention. Yeah, there should be some attention, manasikara. If we don't pay attention to the sound, then we won't hear. If our mind is focused on other object, not on that sound, then we won't hear that sound. Yeah. So here the hearing consciousness occurs because of that sound and ear base. And how about blinking eyes? We think that, oh, this my eye blinks all the time by itself. Yeah? We think the blinking happens by itself. Actually not. In blinking eyes, for example, if we do not blink and just keep our eyes open, what happened at that time? The tears in the eye dried and we feel uncomfortable. When tears dried in the eye, we feel very uncomfortable. We feel like a needle piercing the eyes. So when we feel uncomfortable, then there arises intention that we want to blink. That intention occurs. And because of that intention, then the blinking occurs. So when we blink our eyes, at that time also cause and effect. The intention is cause and the blinking of the eye is effect. So mind causes matter at that time. Mind causes matter. The opening and closing of eyes, yeah, at that time also there is intention. Because of intention, we closed our eyes and we opened our eyes. Mind causes matter. We come to understand that. We see that. We experience that. We do not need to look for that intention actually. We do not look for the cause. When we practice diligently, then we come to see that intention automatically. We don't need to do anything. We come to see that. And again, um, sometimes the weather is very hot outside. Yeah? When the weather outside is very hot and that heat goes into our body, then we also feel very hot in the body. But when weather is very cold outside and that coldness, when it touches our body, when it goes into our body, we also feel very cold. So sometimes the matter causes matter. Yeah? And sometimes when we feel very hungry, what happened? We feel very hungry. We feel very weak, no strength at all. The body feels very weak. When we feel very thirsty, at that time also we feel very difficult. The body has no strength. But when we take food, we eat. Maybe after eating just 1 or 2 spoons, we feel some strength in the body. After drinking 1 or 2 sips of water, then we feel refreshed. So here also, body matter causes matter. So whatever the physical and mental phenomena occurring within us, they are related as cause and effect. And we come to see that cause and effect relation of this mind and matter through our own personal knowledge when we develop mindfulness and concentration. So seeing that cause and effect relation of mind and matter is called Paccaya Parikaha Jnana. The insight, the knowledge of conditionality. And when we see that cause and effect relation of mind and matter, at that time, the doubt, the skeptical doubt is abandoned. Yeah, it is the skeptical doubt is dispelled. So the purification of overcoming of doubt. That is the purification of overcoming of doubt. Means when we see the conditionality, then the doubt is expelled. So before we see that conditionality, we might have some doubt that those mental and physical phenomena, are they created by someone? Is there any creator? Or they just occur by itself without any cause? We might have that type of doubt. Are they created by a creator or a God, or are they occurred by their own without any cause? But when we come to understand the conditionality of this mind and matter, then that doubt will be cleared. Yeah, that doubt will be cleared. That is called Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi, the purification of overcoming of doubt. So a person who gain this knowledge of conditionality, who has overcome the doubt, that person is called Sula Sotapanna. Yeah? Sula Sotapanna means minor stream enterer. Minor stream enterer. When one gains that knowledge of conditionality, that person is called Sula Sotapanna, the minor stream enterer. Why that person called minor stream enterer? Means because he has abandoned the doubt, because the doubt is dispelled. Yeah, the doubt is dispelled, and he have already seen the mind and matter. Means there is no wrong view of atta, there is no wrong view of entity. So that person is called Sulasotapanna, because if having this knowledge with him and he passed away, he would be reborn in the good realm, reborn in good realm, not in four lower states. As we all know that when one attained the first part and fruition knowledge, one becomes Sotapanna, he will not reborn in lower states. He will not reborn in lower states. Same way, one who attained this, the knowledge of conditionality, Pacaya Parigaha Jnana, and he passed away at that moment without destroying this knowledge, then he could be reborn in good realm. That means his life is assured. He will not fall on the four lower states. But after gaining this knowledge of conditionality, he did not continue his practice. He did not practice, and later on, this knowledge disappeared. Then he could reborn in lower states also, because he has not attained the real first part and fruition knowledge yet. So this person is called minor stream enterer, Sula Sotapanna. And After gaining this knowledge, if he continue his practice, that knowledge leads him to the part and fruition knowledge. If he continue to practice this vipassana, this meditation, after gaining that knowledge of conditionality, that knowledge leads him to the part and fruition knowledge. So the Buddha has praised that one who gained this knowledge of conditionality, he gained the spiritual relief. He gained the spiritual relief and his rebirth is secured. But again, we have to remember, only if he can maintain, only if he can maintain that knowledge of conditionality. For some reason, if that knowledge disappeared, then he could reborn in lower states also. So one can gain this knowledge of conditionality only through the continuous practice and the respectful practice. And these two knowledge, the knowledge of discriminating mind and matter and the knowledge of conditionality, actually these two knowledge are not considered as vipassana jnana yet. Yeah? These two knowledge are not considered as insight knowledge, but they are very essential. These two knowledge are very essential to arise the insight knowledge. So after gaining this knowledge of conditionality, and then again one continue his practice, he develops more mindful, more strong mindfulness and concentration. Now, he come to see the appearance, presence, and disappearance of these mental and physical phenomena. He come to see that all physical and mental phenomena are not permanent. They are impermanent. They appears and then disappears. They arise and immediately pass away. So one come to see that impermanence nature of mind and matter. And the knowledge, that knowledge is called sammasana jnana in Pali, the knowledge of comprehension. Because when one see the appearance and disappearance of mental and physical phenomena, one reflect on that. Oh, the mind and matter or physical and mental phenomena, they appear and immediately disappear. Oh, they are not present, permanent. And because they are not permanent, they are unsatisfactory. Because one is oppressed by the arising and passing away. And they are occurring, they are happening in their own accord. No one can control them. So they are anatta. One come to understand that. So understanding of this anicca, dukkha, and anatta, that knowledge is sammasana jnana, the knowledge of comprehension. And at that time, when we note the rising and falling movement in the abdomen, sometimes we see that there is not just one rising. Yeah, sometimes 2, 3 segments, sometimes 4, 5, 6 segments, many segments. In falling also, not just one falling. many segments. And also in sitting down process, in standing up process also, not just one process of sitting, one process of standing up. There are series of intention and a series of sitting down process. The intention also occurs one after another in series, not just one intention. Sometimes we see the series of intention and also the series of sitting down and standing up process. We come to see in that way. And sometimes when we are noting pain or heat, the extreme heat, and when we are observing those pain or extreme heat or the hardness, that is not just one pain or one heat or one hardness. There are many small other pains in that big pain. There are many small heat, not just one. There are many hardness. When we note, when we observe them, we are able to see that. Means we are seeing those things not as a whole thing, but in the minute details of the things we come to see. Yeah, and this knowledge, it occurs by itself. We don't need to look for those small movements, those small pains, those small heat. We don't need to look for them. If we are looking, if we are searching for them, then that knowledge will not be the true knowledge. That would be somehow some imagination. So we should not look for them. We come to see them automatically. So when we listen the Dhamma talk, sometimes that idea, that knowledge from listening or book, sometimes we are applying in the practice. That is not the correct way. Yeah. To experience those knowledge, to gain those knowledge, we just need to stay on the present object. We just need to observe what is occurring at that moment. So our duty is always just one, to observe the presently arising objects. Yeah, we should not think about the knowledge we gain from listening or reading while we are noting the objects. We should not do that. Otherwise, our knowledge will not be a genuine knowledge. Yeah, our knowledge will not be empirical knowledge, not direct knowledge. So we just need to keep on noting every presently arising objects one after another with effort and aiming, so that the mindfulness concentration becomes stronger and stronger, and the knowledge will arise one by one. So when we see the appearance and disappearance of the objects, we noted that knowledge is called sammasananyana, the knowledge by comprehension, and that is the beginning of insight knowledge. That is the beginning of insight knowledge. Then again, if we continue to practice, then there occur the knowledge of arising and passing away, udayabaya jnana, and that will be continued tomorrow.